I'm Janice Edwards. Coming up on Bay Area Vista, we have the stars of Motown the Musical, music by Victoria Thuy Vi, and so much more. It's an incredible show. Join us. I'm Janice Edwards. Welcome to Bay Area Vista. We are talking with the stars of Motown the Musical, an incredible show. Absolutely amazing. We were talking about American innovation today, and Berry Gordy created Hitsville, USA, which became Motown, and the legend lives on. Nicholas Christopher and Patrice Covington are two of the stars of the show. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And you have several awards to your credit, and you're also Grammy nominated, I should mention, Patrice,
yes.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
This show, and you play Smokey Robinson.
Yes.
You play Martha Reeves, and it weaves the fabric of our lives through song. What did you have to learn about Smokey Robinson? I interviewed him years ago, and you had the mannerisms. You had great mannerisms with that. But what did you have to learn about him?
I didn't realize that Smokey was actually the vice president of the company. I didn't realize that he was so, I knew he was a great songwriter and a great singer and a great performer, but I didn't realize his business, the business side, that he influenced so much with the company as well, and how integral he was to Motown becoming what it is.
Yes, and what good friends he and Berry Gordy were.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
or have been, I should say.
Yes.
Yes. And what about you? I also met Martha, and it's incredible when you meet these living legends. How did you do your research?
It's definitely an honor for both of us to be two of the few in the cast who are able to play people who are still living, because they were able to give us the opportunity to actually speak to these people. Smokey came to the show, and I think you've met him previously as well, but the lady that I play the most in the show, her name is Edna Anderson, and she's one of Berry Gordy's right-hand women, and she was very, very influential to his crossing over and to, she was, in the show I say, you're a sellout, basically. You're trying to get the white people to do this, but the black people want it, and he needed that. He needed someone like that who was an activist, but a positive activist that was gonna help him make that change and help him see both sides of what he needed to do. I love this woman. She's so sassy. She's so beautiful.
Can you do her voice too?
Boss. She's so Southern. She's from West Virginia, and I'm from Virginia, so very different. But she's a lovely lady, and I just learned so much about what she really was to the company, and I love that they all still work for him today.
That's what's incredible too, and you get such a sense of the business with all of that goes behind the scenes, and it told the story. I mean, some of it went deep, some of it was a little bit of a sugarcoating in terms of some of the relationships, but also the love was what came through, the love between Diana and Berry, the love that Smokey and Berry had, the love that Edna has, and the vision for really making this business something that is a foundation and a living legacy for all of us. It looks like so much fun to do the show. Now I know it's work. I earned my equity card years ago. Could never do what you do, but I know how much work goes into rehearsals. But you make it look effortless. How did that come about?
Thank you. Practice, practice, practice. It's exactly. 8 shows a week is hard, I guess, because it's you do it so many times in a week. But when the curtain goes up and you hear that and you feel that energy from the audience, they take over, and it just becomes this swirl of energy rather than work.
Yes. And what about you? What do you love most about it?
a lot of my friends say that when I do, like when I get to sing Dancing in the Street, they're like, you know, you blacked out. And I like that because I do actually sometimes I forget like who the last person I spoke to on the phone was or whatever's happening in my life. And if I can make the audience members feel the exact same way, forget what's happening in their lives and just bring it back and to take these people through that trip down memory lane is so nostalgic for them. I don't even know, sometimes I don't even know if they really see us. Like I think they're on a trip on down memory lane because it is the music of everyone's youth,
yes.
Which is not many companies or songs or record labels or whatever that can say that, because I mean I didn't really listen to, you know, whatever my mom was listening to back then other than Motown. Right. You know, like this, my mom listened to Motown, my grandmother listened to Motown, I listened to Motown, and I'm sure that when I have children, they'll listen to somebody that was on Motown too. You can't get rid of it. It's in every commercial. It's in when you go through the stores, when you're in Macy's, H&M, you hear it. It's everywhere. It's always going to be there.
Yes. And you know, you mentioned something very poignant too, because you said to who are living. Because when you see the little boy playing Michael Jackson, who was amazing, yes. by the way, and you think about the losses, Marvin Gaye.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Picket lines, picket signs. People don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, so you can see what's going on, what's going on. So many,
Rick James, Tina Marie, it is very poignant, and it's wonderful to have what seems like them brought back to life for a moment in that way. There are some political overtones too, because of course Berry Gordy recorded Dr. King's sayings, as well as then Marvin Gaye deciding he wanted a more political bent with what's going on and all of those songs. What does it mean for you from a historic perspective to think about African Americans back at the time that Berry Gordy founded Motown and what you're able to do personally today? I'll start with you.
Well, I think it's wonderful, especially with what's going on in the world today, in our country today. It really revived the song What's Going On and made it so much more, we need this show. We need it. It's a nostalgia trip, and it's a great time for people to forget about their problems in life, but then also it brings hope, and it brings to light the fact that we shall overcome and we can do this, and it's just a testament to the music and the love that the music was made with Motown.
Any particular favorite moments of the show for you? You mentioned Dancing in the Streets. Which
yeah,
is one of the,
I love Dancing in the Street. I think for me, it is like Broadway to me.
Yes.
You know, it's got every element. There's singing, there's dancing, there's crazy lights, there's a costume change, there's sparkles, there's everything that's Broadway.
Wigs.
Right. Everything that's Broadway, and everybody's in it at some point, which is really, really cool because, you know, there's a lot of us, but a lot of the times we're not on stage together. There are very few times where we're on the stage together. So I love that. I'm particularly happy doing What's Going On right now because of what Nick just said, you know, all the things that are happening in, you know, all over the world. I can't even just point out one place. We immediately want to talk about Ferguson because,
yes.
you know, that's what the song was about. And unfortunately, the song is relevant still.
Tragically, yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, it happened before, we got better before, so hopefully we'll get better again, you know, and when I sing that song, it just makes me feel, it makes me feel many things, many things, but at the end of it all, it's like maybe we're bringing some awareness back into, you know, what's happening, because a lot of people want to put a sheet over their eyes about what's happening, but it's real, so.
Yes, and the fact that it continues. I mean, talking about Ferguson now, we can look back to Rodney King, we look back to just so many tragic incidences, and especially for young black men. And when you think about when they show Barry as a young man with this dream and the racism that was encountered there, but the dream to succeed is something that's so poignant, and it has transformed all of our lives in that very special way. We talked about wigs, and you get to wear a couple
Yes.
Smokey.
Yes,
and
I have a great Jerry curl, a great press, and a great afro.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's really wonderful, really wonderful.
Those fun moments, and of course, showing him performing with his then wife, who was one of the original.
Claudette.
Yes,
Claudette,
one of the original members there. When you got this part, what did you think it would be, and how has doing this show been different from what you anticipated, if it has been in any way?
Well, I was lucky enough to be a part of the original Broadway cast,
Yeah.
and I understudied Smokey Robinson. I played a character called Norman Whitfield.
Oh, yes.
And
famous writer.
Yes, the famous producer and writer, and he got to fight with Barry a lot. And we had a bunch of scenes. I mean, when I first started, the lab before, we workshopped the show before we put it up, before we get into rehearsal. And the show was, there's so much information, and Mr. Gordy wanted to include so much of the story that the show was like over 4 hours long.
Oh, really? When you, oh my gosh, before you whittled it down for Broadway?
Yes, exactly. So there was a lot of information. There was, we got to live through these moments, and then eventually they become talked about, and you know, we decide and we mold what story we're trying to tell and make it more specific. So it was wonderful to live through all these different moments and to meet all these different people. So I wasn't ready for that to be, I didn't realize that everybody was going to care about this story so much within the Motown family. Yes. So we got to meet Stevie, we got to meet Smokey, you know, we get to talk to all these people and learn them as people, not as these mythical creatures.
Right,
you
but
know,
the human beings who also performed in an incredible way.
Exactly, and that blew my mind even more, because it's easy to just, you know, look at them as idols and call them gods, but to realize that they're people and they're doing these amazing things blew my mind even more.
Yes, and when you talk about getting them, that Stevie impersonation is dead on too.
Yeah,
He's great with that.
Yeah.
How about you, Patrice, in terms of what has surpassed your expectations, perhaps, in the show, or surprised you?
Yeah, you know, like you said, the mythical creature thing, it's crazy to me that Barry Gordy knows my name, you know, and like all these people who were magical people that we never ever imagined knowing, they've taken us in and they treat us like we are part of the Motown family, and they say that we are. They're very clear that you guys are part of the legend now, and that's crazy to me. That, you know, because I've done a lot of Broadway shows, and you're just part of the show, and when the show is over, that's it. But I feel so much differently with this show because of the fact that they show so much love and support and encouragement. They are so proud of us. They want us to do well. They want you to succeed in this show, outside of this show, just in life. And they know our names. They know our names. They know our names. They know about us just like we know about them.
Yes, and they dance to see Barry Gordy dancing on stage at the end for the curtain call. Amazing. But it's so exciting. It's just really touching, moving. I was on a high afterwards, and and everyone we were talking to was just like, wasn't that great? And what about this? And you want to share the moments, and that's why it really is something that can't be missed. Everyone really needs to see this, because it does reawaken things. It also speaks to the importance of family embracing each other. I mean, when we think about the tragic losses, I think if only there had been an opportunity for each of these stars whom we lost when they were struggling at that time, to have anyone who could have maybe made that difference or pulled them up. And I think that's what we have to do. I love the moment. I'm going to ask us to hold hands, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can. This is one of the magic moments of Motown the Musical. You have to see it. It's in town, and it will really inform your life, change your life, and it has impacted all of our lives. So thank you both very much.
Thank you for having
to talk with you.
Likewise.
On our show, we also are going to talk with a young lady who's 10 years old, and she's just recorded 2 CDs, and we're talking with other people who are in the music business. So what advice would you give if you had anything to say that you think would help someone in terms of just charting a career?
Well, she already got 2 CDs.
2 CDs, I know.
I'm going to ask her for it. advice. No, I would definitely say that, you know, always stay educated. Stay educated throughout your career. Get the education. Although a lot of us are at our ultimate dream goal already, or this is something that they've always wanted to do, you have to stay conditioned. Whether it's taking acting classes, dance classes, vocal lessons, always, always, always stay learning and always, you know, keep the muscle strong, because sometimes you may not do it for a long time, or you get used to doing one thing for a long time and then you could lose it. It's just like an athlete. You have to stay conditioned, keep those muscles ready, warmed, and ready to do everything that you are capable of doing all the time.
Okay, great. And what advice do you have for Victoria and the others on the show?
Victoria, make sure it's always fun. Make sure you're always having fun with it, and don't make it a chore. Let it be something that you use to express yourself, and not something, don't let the money or the career aspect blind you of how much fun this is.
Great advice, and thank you so much.
Thank
you guys
you.
are
Thank you for
awesome.
having me.
We are here on site at the Spirit of American Innovation at the Tech Museum of Innovation in San Jose, talking with a young lady who at the tender age of 10 is an innovator in her own right. She is a performer who is acclaimed and is multi-talented. Victoria Thuy Vi is her stage name, and her given name is Victoria Thuy McDowell. Victoria, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
I mentioned that you're a singer, and when I said that, that doesn't really encompass all that you've done. You have 2 CDs that have just come out, and you just came from Vietnam. How old were you when you began singing?
I've been singing ever since I was 4 years old. I've been singing in English, and I started singing Vietnamese when I was about 5, 6 years old.
And now you are fluent in both. And when you went to Vietnam for the first time, how was that experience?
It was amazing getting to meet all my relatives and getting to see another country. It was very...
And while you were there, though, and your whole family went, but you weren't only visiting, but you were working on the 2 CDs. You recorded a CD for Buddhist monks. What is the name of that one?
Am đến chùa, which means I'm going to a temple. It was a great experience.
How long did it take you?
It took about 3 days.
And you also recorded another CD in English. It's entitled I Dream. And how do you say it in Vietnamese?
Tôi mơ. Có tiếng mẹ già mưa nắng bao ngày, có anh hiu lo lắng.
One of the things that comes through is that you really love what you do. And while a lot of 10-year-olds are just hanging out at the mall on the weekends, you're actually usually working and performing. She has performed the national anthem at City Hall several times. She also has performed the Vietnamese national anthem. When you're performing, what is it that you enjoy best?
I like seeing smiles on people's faces after I sing. I like how I bring joy to people when I sing.
Yes. And you are acclaimed for that. You're a straight-A student. You have a brown stripe belt in Taekwondo. You also play the piano and other instruments?
I also play violin and the keyboard.
What is it that inspires you to do all of this?
Really my parents. They really pushed me to fulfill my dreams and do what I always wanted to do.
What is the best advice that you've gotten from, let's start with your dad?
Don't get distracted. Do your best to stay on task.
And how about your mom?
Always don't listen to what other people say if it's mean. Just how you feel is what matters, not what other people think about you.
One of the things that I learned about you also is that you want to be a surgeon, and that's one of the reasons we came here to a location where so much happens that really fuels the medical industry. So why do you want to be a surgeon?
Well, It really interests me, and I really I like helping people, and if someone's hurt, I would like to help them.
We were talking earlier about the advice that both your mom and your dad have given you. What kind of advice do you give your peers who want to become successful and do some of the things that you do?
Well, I always try to help my friends if they're trying to do something. Yeah.
When you are practicing Taekwondo, is there a particular thought or a mantra or something that you keep in mind that helps you excel?
I always think that this is for self-defense, knowing that I'm not supposed to use it only if for emergencies, but I know I have to learn it well because you never know what could happen.
Yes, and I have to applaud you because I was only a white belt in Taekwondo, but the fact that you're a brown stripe is very impressive. Well, we're going to go upstairs in just a moment because we're going to look at the alphabet.
Wow, that's really awesome.
It's done already? That was quick.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And you have two cultural heritages, Vietnamese and African American. Are there ever any challenges because of coming from two cultures that you faced?
I don't think so.
That's great. Good to know. Well, you certainly are a shining example, as I said, an American innovator. The music at this age, earlier in the show we were looking at Motown the Musical, which of course chronicled the Jackson 5 and other young artists coming up, and now at the age of 10, Victoria is a 6-year veteran in the music business with so much more ahead of her. As we mentioned, she has 2 CDs out, and if you'd like to contact her, the details are on our screen as well. I'm Janice Edwards, and we're on location at the San Jose Jazz Festival. You are about to feel really good because in just a few moments we are going to hear from an amazing, amazing artist. I have to tell you that I had the pleasure of interviewing Let Us See some years back, and I knew then that she was going to be amazing and great. And she's just as sweet as she was then, in addition to all of her accomplishments. She is, of course, a Grammy-nominated jazz R&B songstress. You can give it up for her, give her some hometown love. Now, technically, she's from New Orleans, but you know, we claim her in the Bay Area because she spent a lot of time here, and we remember when she dropped her first album here, don't we? Absolutely. We were going to have a Let Us See singing contest to see who could sing her songs best before she came, but we didn't have time for that today, so maybe next time. But I'll just tell you that she sang with the New Orleans Symphony Orchestra when she was 8 years old. She formed the group in 1995, building a hot reputation throughout the Bay Area, which we know about, which led to her international fame. Let Us See's latest album, The Truth, released this year, is an album filled not only with her trademark soaring ballads. How many of you have heard The Truth? Yes? All right. But also a generous collection of up-tempo, beat-driven celebrations of lust and love. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it doesn't get any better than what you are about to hear. I'm so excited for us, and I'll tell you that we'll be right back, and then Let Us See will be on stage. Let's get ready for her!
Hey! My name is Let Us See. How you doing? Hey, yeah. Oh. It's Sunday, you
Show. I'm Janice Edwards, and thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time.